Hey folks, it's Christmas Eve, and Tesla has given us an unexpected gift right before Christmas. We've got the next version of FSD. It's 14.2.2, and I thought we'd try it out on a little drive here. And I did not expect that we would see another software update before the end of the year, especially after the large holiday update. But I woke up this morning and there was another version. So it's a point release. It was on a 14.2.1. I think there was also another 0.25 to indicate it was the Christmas one of FSD. So a point release, not 100% sure what's new or different. Oh, now there at that stop sign, it just kind of rolled right through it. That was interesting. Although maybe it doesn't have an official stop sign there. I didn't really think to look. We can just put it on our full display. So I thought we'd try this out on a little bit of a ride over to good old-fashioned Wally World to do a little bit of last-minute Christmas shopping. Not so much Christmas shopping as much as need to get some fruit and things for our traditional Christmas breakfast tomorrow. And so, yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's different about this. I guess we're going to see if anything is new or different. I do have it on chill. The last couple days, I've been using FSD on chill. I don't use chill as far as like autopilot, um, profile. Because on autopilot you can set your maximum speed. On FSD, I do wish they let you set your max speed the way it used to be. But now with these profiles, it kind of controls the speed in a contextual way, and it does a pretty good job. But even on the normal um, driving profile, the medium one, it still goes a little faster on certain roads, especially interstates, than I would care to. It goes just an extra 2 to 3 miles per hour faster than I would like. I like to keep it pretty conservative, usually no more than 4 to 5 over a speed limit. And in the many, many tens of thousands of miles I've done in the last couple years, actually, in the last 3 years, I've done, oh boy, about 140, 150,000 miles in the last 3 years, between the Model 3 and this Model Y. Just going 4 to 5 over, especially on the interstates, nobody is going to pull you over for that. But this will end up going 6, 7, 8 miles an hour over. And especially when you get to 7 or 8, that's really risking getting pulled over. So I've been turning down FSD onto chill just to try to control that top end speed. It has nothing to do with it getting in and out of lanes or anything like that, as much as there's a difference between normal and chill on that. It's all about that top end speed that I'd like to keep dialed back just a little bit. So Tesla, if you can, give us the ability, even on these profiles, to set a maximum speed. I'm just going to turn off the wipers for right now. I know that goes to auto when you're on FSD or autopilot, but there's no actual rain or anything right now. It's 37 degrees if the car is accurate, and I believe it probably is. There's just some mist coming off the road from a little bit of light snow last night. And I don't want the car smearing up the windshield. It'll actually be worse with the wipers than if we just leave it alone. But yeah, so I wish we could still control that max speed. I think that's still useful. I understand why maybe letting the profile handle that, but there could be times where you want to control that max speed independently of its other behavior in these profiles, as far as how it overtakes cars and changing lanes and all that good stuff, um, acceleration. Um, I wish we could just still set a max speed independent of the rest of the features there on FSD. But maybe in another release, you never know. It keeps getting tweaked. So our destination is Walmart. Oh, and unlike my last video where I wasn't positive where in the speed profile you could set what you were doing at your destination. So here's also your speed profiles: sloth, chill, standard, hurry, and Mad Max. I've used hurry like once, and I've never used Mad Max. I mean, I'm not looking to be speeding all over the place, so that this area just doesn't justify this upstate New York kind of thing. This just doesn't justify a Mad Max kind of a thing. But now at the destination, we can either go curbside or park, and if we're parking, it'll give a range of options like parking lot, or sometimes it'll say charger. So if there's a charger at that location, you could park at the charger. But so that's kind of cool. And that I'm guessing that same menu, if you're navigating to a McDonald's, this is where you would then, I would imagine, picture, am I parking curbside or am I going through the drive-through? And I would think on the drive-through, is the car gonna intuitively know the different windows at a drive-through? Maybe, maybe not. So I would imagine at a drive-through, I don't know, you're going to need some sort of control over going from window to window. Um, maybe it'll just allow you to hit the accelerator to go up and then stop at the next window. I'm not really sure how to picture that. Of course, then there's lots of drive-throughs where you have two windows, where you pay and then where you pick up. But a lot of times there's nobody at that first window where you're paying, and you do everything at the second window. And when you go through the drive-through and they say, okay, pull ahead to the second window, somehow that almost needs to be an option in the drive-through menu, that we're skipping the first window and we're going to the second. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Can the car recognize the windows on the side of a drive-through? Maybe. They're not universal. Some of them jut out a little bit. Others are more flat, and just is a kind of a plain window right in the regular facade of the building, and it doesn't really stick out or anything. So how it would intuitively know which window to stop at, or even whether there's a window there to stop at on its own, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how FSD handles going through a drive-through. But I know we've talked about that before. Hopefully that is to come here, and you can see now we're starting to build out that ability. So we'll see. So far, of course, I'm not touching a thing. This is doing wonderful. I am curious where it's going to try to park for me. Almost certainly it's not going to want to park where I would want to park. I tend to park far away, not necessarily a secluded spot in a Walmart parking lot, but I do have my favorite spots that I like to go. This Walmart in particular, actually, there's a couple spots that are very close to the door where normally I wouldn't want to park, just to try to avoid, people parking directly next to you with door dings and all that. But there are a couple spots that are artificially very wide right next to the building, and I love to try to grab one of those. There's a total of 4 of them. And if I can, I grab one of those. But if those aren't available, I usually try to grab one that's a little farther away from the building. Okay, are we going to turn right on red here? It can go, but it would have to go. Nope, that's good. It did see this car coming up pretty quickly. So that's very good. All right. Flawless. Absolutely flawless. This thing just works. Unless it has wrong nav data. In the last video, I showed where it got to a roundabout, and in order to go straight through the roundabout, it needed to be in the right-hand lane. Of course, every roundabout's a little different. Sometimes the right-hand lane in a roundabout, you're supposed to get off at the very first exit of the roundabout. But the one in question, I wanted to go straight through, and I needed to be in the right lane, but instead it got into the left lane, and I needed to disengage to go ahead and get in the correct lane. That's really a navigation error. It's not so much a driving error. It's not a self-driving error. It just wasn't in the correct lane, but it would not have tried to go straight through that because it couldn't. That lane would have only gone to the left. But as long as the nav data is correct, the car itself just drives so nice. The accelerations are generally smooth, generally smoother than they have been previously, especially back in version 12, but maybe even a little better than the earlier versions of 13. And braking is generally very smooth. Okay, I see where it's going to try, if the map is accurate, it's almost going to try to put us right in the middle of the parking lot, which is okay. But what I'm going to do when I see where it's going, and it's almost certainly not where I want to be, I'm going to disengage, and then I'll try to let the car do the self-park. I haven't done a regular old self-park, which is part of, basically I'm going to disengage it. The self-park can actually do better sometimes than parking in the letting FSD do the parking. If you do the separate self-park. Okay, it's going to try to turn here. I'm going to disengage. I'm going to come this way because that's where I want to park. Actually, I will try. Let's go ahead up this way. And I'm going to see if I can get... Actually, these here are spots that I like to do as well. Why don't we do this spot right here? Start. There's nobody behind me. Actually, there is a car, but they're okay. Yep, that's fine. That's doing good. Even with a slightly cloudy camera, it's going slower than I would like. Especially with a car behind me. But even with cloudy cameras with mist on them, park totally fine. And I'm in a spot I like. I'm at the end. Part of the Tesla Walking Club. If you know, you know. All right. Merry Christmas, doll. That's 14.2.2 on. Let's get the regular software version as well. 2025.45.5. That's a new version of the main OS, along with 14.2.2 for FSD. Merry Christmas. Keep tripping. We'll see you on the next one.